Well, again, I go back 10 years ago. We had equity plus, we had equity, and that word kept used and used and used, and everybody said, well, can we call it anything else? Well, it's still the same. Anybody had it. Again, Dr. Smith had this in the plan. Somewhere along the way, somebody changed it to strategic staffing, put a tag on it and said, look what I've done, and try to promote that. And I hear board members talking about, oh, we did strategic staffing. No, it's been in place for 10 years. We've got to have it. You can't have 30 kids, at-risk kids with one teacher. You've got to have 15, 16. My wife works as Huntersville Elementary. She's a registrar. We've got 70-some teachers up there. We're on the front line listening to this all the time, how this works. So instead of paying $100,000 to do a survey to find out if we can do all this stuff, just get 75 teachers in a room and school leadership. That was some of the most important lessons I've learned at the school level. Get at the school leadership level, let the teachers walk in that room, let your students be in there, and you can move that school forward because you understand the dynamics of that school.
So do you think the current weighted staffing formula addresses the problems adequately, or I mean, in board discussions, there are board members who say, you know, it's too much. Well, how do you?
No, I mean, it goes back to you got 100 children below grade level. You still can't in a warehouse more and more children with a teacher and get frustrated and not move forward. There's a better way of doing it. Now, that is strategic staffing, everything we call it, that's the first step. But there's other processes within that classroom that have got to identify these children, who these kids are. What else are you going to do for them? You know, sending a parent to a parent university doesn't assure us that that child's going to come to school and that's more than prepared. I mean, I think the parent university was probably needed at one time. It probably adds value to the community overall. But I'm focused on that child in the classroom. Why are these numbers not moving for 10 years? It's the same old, same old. We've got to come up with a better way of doing it inside. If we get 16 kids to a teacher and a teacher assistant, and that's where we put, excuse the word, surge that we use in the military, where we solve problems, you have to put a surge force where your problem is. You can't say, oh, you know, district-wide, we're doing great. We're at 72% graduation rate, not when 3 high schools are in the 50s.
The difference between the sort of school surge and a military surge is that at the end of a military surge, you're done and you move on. In an elementary school, every year you get a new crop of high needs.
I guess you have to use that word as political, in a political nature. You can't tell the American public we're going to surge and stay in Iraq forever or Afghanistan. We know within the inner circles of the military and the hierarchy of the administration, Afghanistan is like Korea. We will be there. Why? It sits on the back side of Iran. Why? Iran controls that one narrow strait, that 40% of the free oil comes through that strait. If they shut it down, strategically, behind them, there's nothing. We're there now. We'll probably always have forces there. So you surge where your problems are. We've been surging for 10 years in Iraq. And who's to say when it stops? You don't pull back until the mission is accomplished.
So if strategic staffing, if that's a starting place, then in your mind, what else should be, what else do you need? If we got 1 to 15 or 1 to 16 or whatever,
right.
That's a start. What else?
Well, when we, 10 years ago, when we first started all this, we thought that was it. That was one of them.
Right.
The next thing was, we don't have the proper buildings. And I know because we experienced it just straight out of North Mac. We went to some of the schools downtown, Sedgefield, terrible schools. And so the thinking was, let's get brand new, let's get more and more nice buildings.
Yeah.
I knew for a fact, when I went to college, I did better in a brand new building at UNCC in Charlotte than I did at Gardner-Webb College in the basement on Tuesday, Thursday class with an old professor. That's the only deal I made in my life. And why? Because of the ergonomics of that classroom. So once we got the buildings and all this square footage, and we got this now, that's not solved the problem yet.
Right.
So we got the building aspect, we got the staffing aspect. You know, I would love to just get some teachers in a room and get some key people in a room and say, okay, what is the next step? I just read an article, I was waiting on my son at the dentist's office, and this person said, little boys, and I've raised 3 sons and a daughter. I can raise 3 boys that stand on my head compared to 1 daughter. They're great kids, they all graduated, but they are different.
Yeah.
And they said, they can learn the same, they just learn differently.
Yeah.
So I would you hear about the school uniforms. I would love to see the 100 black men, the groups they talk about, get some of these children in the low income, separate the boys. We do it in strategic planning, what we call experiential learning. We take them off site. We take them to Fort Fisher, which is a state facility. Anybody can go as far as state employees, or we take them down, we get them close to the ocean, Cape Fear. It's a whole different mindset, especially the little boys. You know, they can get into stuff. We do the Star Wars camps and stuff like that. Little girls can sit and just read all day long, and they can learn. Little boys are going to get, so you got to have different styles there. Now, I don't know if I know First Ward, one of the things were, and I pushed this at North Meck, and the teacher had a pushback, so we just stopped, pulled back. We were going to try to go year round to solve our problem. We had it all laid out in tracks and everything, but the teachers didn't want it. So we were smart enough, the school leadership team, just to shut it down and push to getting a new North or the Mountain Creek High School built. It may be what's going to be tried at First Ward. I'm really interested in what's going to happen there. The 9-week on, 3-week off. I ran into a teacher at Chick-fil-A, and we just talked. She said, I'm a teacher, I'm a Raleigh, and she said they had it. And she said they didn't like it, but they loved it. And she loves it. She said, because that 3 weeks we're off, there's nobody at the beach, there's nobody at the mountains, and it gives us time. So the 9 weeks on, 3 weeks off, that may work. I think, you know, strategic planning, we use plan, do, check, act. You plan it, you do it on a small scale, and then you check and see if it works. If it's going to work at First Ward, then it might work at some other schools. And it might be a 9-3 track with, you know, special classes for little guys to do certain type of learning and get their hands on and don't, you know. Because I got one son, even right now, he's totally bored. He's on Chancellor's list of UNCC, he's a senior. He is bored. He comes into a class, he said, he's bored, so he needs a better challenge.